Mai-Liis.
Good morning. So, did we all have a good Canada Day?
Um, I don't know about you, but I did.
Oh, I know I did too. I was at the Lost Villages Museum with my mom and her beautiful gnome pots and stones, and it was it was so nice, Julia.
Yeah,
There was a constant flow of people. You felt like you were in a little village fair or something. It was so relaxing. Even my mom said she's so happy that she decided to take part. She
yeah.
said she was like in a little village
Oh,
atmosphere.
cute.
Really, really nice. And at first she goes, "Who's going to be interested in my gnome pots?" Well, we sold
Everyone.
over half of it. And then I had posted them on Facebook, and this morning I got another, does she still have this one? Does she still have that one? I want this one. So it's like it was fun. It was fun. But I
I
want to
saw she was
know.
doing like rocks too, eh?
Yeah, she was. She sold
Ah,
all the rocks. All the rocks are gone. And then I was asking for suggestions on what people might want to see. And they want cat rocks, dog rocks, ladybugs, butterflies. There's all kinds of suggestions because the rocks seem to go really, really well.
yeah.
They were calling them pet rocks. So they bought them. But I am curious, where was this ghost village that you went to?
Oh my goodness. So I went to this place. It's called New Found Out. Actually, there's two places. There's
Hmm.
one called Balaclava,
Okay.
which is about 2.5 hours away. And then New Found Out is about 15 minutes further than Balaclava, I guess.
Oh,
Anyway, so we got to, because I was researching online where there were ghost towns because we wanted to
yeah.
go in an adventure somewhere. And so I saw Balaclava, and so we drove down there. But like, I mean, we didn't find anything. There was one abandoned building. It was not that interesting. Like, it
Hmm.
was not what I kind of, or we anticipated. And so we proceeded to go to the other place, and then that thing was like in the boonies. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
we took a main road, then we veered off the main road, and then we went into this little dirt road for miles and miles and miles until we finally got to some ruins. Like, there was some villages that there was a village that had been there. Like, there was some, houses and
Yeah.
ruins of houses and old cars. And anyways, it was really really interesting. But then we're continuing, and we're going and going, and then we came to a fork. And in that fork, I don't know if you saw the picture, it was so eerie. There was like the sign for the street, and then there was like an big old, like, dead tree trunk that looked like a freaking horns.
Okay.
And there was a doll on a rock, like an
Oh
abandoned
God.
old. Anyways, it was creepy, really creepy. But so of course my boys had to get out and go touch the doll. My other child is in the car saying, "Can we go back now? Can we go back now?" Anyways, I took some pictures. It was really interesting. It was fun.
But
It's
is
just,
there things? Is it like there's things to read, or
oh
is it
no,
just
no, 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 it's
buildings?
completely abandoned. Like, there's nothing
Oh,
there. It's just like, it's abandoned structures. Like,
okay.
so it's really, it's got a Blair Witch Project kind of feel to it, if you've seen the
Oh,
Blair Witch
yeah,
Project.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, it was fun. It was far, but it was fun. And then we ended up in Perth for dinner, and
Hmm.
I had never seen Perth, and I thought Perth was like a big city, like
No, no, no.
it's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
But oh, so pretty. It was so nice. Like, it was really buzzing. Like, at 6 at night on Saturday, it was like there was full people everywhere, like little art galleries here and chocolate factory there, and really nice.
Not like 6 o'clock downtown Cornwall on a weekend where it's like
Um,
nobody.
well, yeah, it is what it is, but it's so pretty. It reminded me, like, there's a canal there, and there was like
Hmm.
terraces right on the canal with little umbrellas. It reminded me of like the Riverwalk in San Antonio. It's so pretty. Anyways, they
Well,
live
you've got
like
a lot of little places like Merrickville and all those little places are
Smith
like that.
Falls. We
Smith
drove through
Falls,
Smith
yeah.
Falls on the way back, and that's kind of pretty too. So, anyways, I'm gonna kidnap my husband and go for a day or two at some point.
No, that'll be nice. My mom and dad, when they lived in Greenbush, they did 3 market gardens, and one of them was Smith Falls. There was Smith Falls, Brockville. Oh my God, and I'm trying to think. It could have even been Perth where they did the other one. There was 3 of them anyway, in little places. Oh, Prescott, sorry. Prescott, Smith Falls, and Brockville. But Smith Falls, again, I went with them once, and it was really, really pretty.
Hmm. So, anyways, if you know of any ghost towns in Ontario,
Mm.
please let me know. I want to go. Did you get to see the last dual part? No, I did not. I read about it after I came back home, but when I go back, I want to go and check it out. So this Perth is the place where the last duel happened in Canada. So
Oh,
there's a park that says that's called the Last Duel Park, and being into Hamilton, like my kids were really into Hamilton and everything, and there's duels in there, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody challenged everyone to a duel for whatever reason. So the discussions we're having this morning, I would probably challenge Stephen or Louise, who's going to come and talk, to a duel for their difference of opinion or whatever.
Yeah,
But
this morning it's going to be interesting, that's
it
for
is
sure.
it is going to be interesting. Hopefully we get people to interact and come
Yeah.
and chat with us. It's going to be respectful. We're not going to judge anyone. It's just, everybody telling us how they feel about the decision. We're going to be talking about the decision in the states to overturn Roe v Wade, which is the case that actually paved the way for the federal government in the states to give abortion rights, like making it federal that you had the right to abortion.
Hmm.
So what happened is that the Supreme Court overturned this decision last week, and now it's up to the states themselves to decide if abortion is going to be legal or not. You're not protected federally. uh, your right to an abortion is not protected federally anymore, so the state can do whatever they want. So the states that are southern, like Texas for example, is going to be probably deciding that women cannot
No
have
abortion.
abortions, and I
Yeah.
mean in Texas it is like that right now, I believe. But anyways, I'm going to bring in our guests, and
Hmm.
hopefully we can have a nice discussion about this. We have a man and a woman, so we can get a few perspectives.
Hmm.
So here's Stephen and Louise. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having
Morning.
How are you doing today?
me. I'll let the lady go first.
I'm fine. Great. Lovely day. Yeah.
Hmm.
Lovely
Absolutely.
day for a discussion.
Every
Especially
day is a good day
fine
for discussion.
discussion.
Another day to fight. So Louise actually penned the editorial that was published last week in the Seeker, and it's funny because I was surprised that it didn't generate more traffic and more discussion than it did because of the subject it is.
Hmm.
But it speaks in itself. That speaks volumes in itself because it shows how people are kind of leery when it comes to that topic, to offer their opinion
Yep.
either way.
So,
So
are we
go
going to
ahead.
get like a little summary of exactly what this is?
Well, I think I summarized it pretty well when I don't know, Louise, do you have anything to add to that?
Like, what is this thing?
I'm not even sure I understand the question, my least. I
Well,
mean,
basically, like I was talking to quite a few people this weekend to say that we were having a discussion on Roe v. Wade,
Wade.
and they
yeah.
were going, "Well, I'm not really sure what that even is." That's kind of what I was getting back. Like roughly, I know, but I'm not really sure.
Well, essentially, it's something that guarantees women. My understanding is it guarantees women the right to abortion without being penalized for it criminally.
Hmm.
Um, by giving her the right to privacy. So her decision is hers. It's private, and overturning that at a federal level means now that the states get to decide whether this is now criminal or not.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
basically, some states will ban abortions. So you cannot have access to abortions.
Under
Some
any
states,
circumstances.
what was that?
Under any circumstances.
Under any circumstances. So that means if a woman is raped and gets pregnant as a result of that rape, she has to have the baby. And then it gets to be her burden to A, carry that child for 9 months, and B, raise that child if she decides to keep it, or, get the hassle of giving it away for adoption, or whatever it is that she wants to do.
But
So
if
it becomes
you're
her burden.
yeah, but if your state bans it, can you go to another state to get one?
Yeah,
Yes
but
and no.
most of the women that are getting pregnant in the States are in the poorer section. There is people of all categories, but this is going to really, really hurt the underprivileged people, underprivileged women in the States. They're the ones that are really going to get hammered with it. And, if they get raped or have bad luck, just to get pregnant, they can't get rid of the child. And I don't think anybody has the right to tell any woman what to do with her body. That's my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, the day that they announced that they were bringing down Roe versus Wade, they turned around. 12 states within an hour signed a document stating it was illegal to have an abortion. Period.
And illegal, which means you can get jailed for having an abortion. So even if it's illegal in your state and you're going to another state, like, could they still prosecute you?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
They can.
Because you went against state law.
So like Stephen says, those women who are like in poorer conditions might not even be able, it might not even be an option for them to go to another state because there's cost, with that. And so they might not even be doing that. And then if they do and the state gets to know, then, they can be charged anyways and go to jail. Meanwhile, the rapist is going around walking free,
Yeah. Louise had her finger up.
I just wanted to add that in some states, what they're doing, and I don't know at what level, I don't know who's doing this, but in some states there are bounties so that women who are pregnant and going for an abortion, there's you are paid to rat on that woman, and there's significant money.
Bounty hunters, like it's
like something
money.
Like $10,000 is what I read somewhere, and I thought that was unbelievable.
Welcome to the United States of America. And what scares me with this is, okay, they brought this down, but there's so many other ramifications that's going to come of it. And one of the justices said that they just opened up a plethora of things that they could overturn. Gay marriage, for one, and they legalized homosexuality back in the early 70s, I believe. And they could actually turn that back to make it illegal to be a homosexual again in the United States. So, there's a whole box of goodies that they got to play with now, which is very scary. And I just hope it doesn't spread north because, we have a good system here, but it's not a foolproof system. And what scares me is last week they were talking to, I think it was the Prime Minister and one of the other liberals, and they said they will not even revisit the abortion question. And one from the Conservatives said, well, it's still on the table. So that's what really, really scares me, is like, depending on what government we get, women here could be put in the same position as the Americans, and I'm Canadian. I'm not American. I want our women to be protected as much as possible. You
Yeah.
fought for it, right? You fought for it, so you got to all fight back. Keep fighting.
We did. It's funny because I saw a meme last week and it said, "It's funny how time zones work. In Australia, we're 12 hours ahead. In Europe, we're 5 hours ahead. In the United States, it's now 1928, you know?" And it is pretty true because
Yep.
this is how I felt when I read the decision, is that we just went back
Backwards.
50 years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
With this sort of overturning of Roe v. Wade, one of the things that some of the states are doing is they're also pulling back on birth control and on sex education, which leaves people, some women, they don't know what's going on, and they have no way to protect themselves at all.
yeah. And you know what really angers me is that it's always wrapped with a nice little bow.
Mhm.
You know, like they're giving us a gift, right? For example, in Texas, just last week, there was this "Don't Say Gay" bill. I don't know if you've seen this, but
No.
just on Friday, there's a bill that passed in Texas, and it's been deemed the "Don't Say Gay" bill. So in schools right now, they are not to say the word gay, gender, identity, or transgender, or anything that refers to LGBTQ. They cannot say in class anymore. And of course, they wrapped it in a nice little way, saying that they're giving parents the right back. They're giving parents back the right to their child's sexual education. So, yeah, "Don't Say Gay" bill. Look it up.
Oh
They're
my goodness.
they're talking about stopping, like just Louise just alluded to, the birth control for women, also making it. They're talking about making that illegal. Are they going to
Yeah.
make vasectomies illegal?
The what? Sorry.
The
Vasectomies?
vasectomies.
Vasectomies
Of
illegal.
course not.
I doubt it.
And my wife and I had the discussion last week about it, and it was like, it's easier for a man to have it because it could be reversed easier than a woman having tubulation or whatever. And
Mhm.
there's things that go on, and I'm only talking from what I got in my own head here. Not every woman could be on the pill,
No.
and so they got to go different ways. So what are we gonna do? Gonna just let them die?
Well, it goes back to the concept of church and state. Like, church and state is supposed to be distinct. It's supposed to be separate. It's not supposed to have to do with one another. And the matters of the states, or rather the matters of the church, are not supposed to interfere with the matters of the states. Well, when you got like the ban to contraception and abortion and all that, it is rooted in religious beliefs, right? Like, I mean, so one of the arguments that they're making is that it's repeatedly used as a contraception method. So, okay, why not tackling that problem instead, and just limit the amount of abortions you can have in any given year or something, or because if you take the religious argument, you can go as far back as saying, okay, well, um I'm sorry, but if you're doing anything to prevent family, then that's just as bad as an abortion. You're
Mhm.
preventing life. So, yes, Louise.
I just want to jump in and say, when we talk about religious, we're talking mostly Christian,
Yeah.
and it's especially pushed by evangelicals, Christian nationalism, Christian dominionism. Not all faiths.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's far
Yeah.
right Christian
If you
groups.
were Jewish, it is the woman first, then the baby.
The baby,
Okay,
right?
it's a totally different mentality. So this is certain areas, because you can have religious, even Christian, that don't want to get involved with this. They don't agree with this. I mean, I know people that are, um, involved in religion. They don't They don't want to know about this, and they don't agree with this. And it hasn't always been part of religious belief.
Yeah, and even if it was religious belief, didn't God give us free will? Like, isn't it between me and God, my decision to get an abortion? Like, why are these guys coming in and stepping in and preventing me from having my free will?
Because they want to take everything back they've given you.
But why are they giving it to you in the first place? Why?
Why? Because you fought for it. You fought for it, and I'm going to say it. And on a man's side, men don't like to be defeated by women, and you defeated us. And now you got a bunch of people there. You got a bunch of men.
All right, Stephen.
Exactly.
These women.
I'm not one of them. I agree with everything women got, they deserved. And to start rolling it all back now, it's just wrong. You know, we've come so far from like the beginning of the 20th century there, when the women got the right to vote, and you kept fighting for different stuff all the way through. And what's badly for most men, and I'm only talking for myself here, that we didn't fight for anything. We just assumed we had it.
Okay.
And now, we look at the women, you got everything that you need. And just here in Cornwall, for example, and I'm going to go for my men's group, women have all kinds of places they can go for help because you went out and got those places. Mm-hmm. In Cornwall, we have one place for men's support, and that's the one we started 3.5 years ago. Up to that point, there was nothing, but there's people starting to work now, and it bothers men that you got more than we do, but you deserve it. And I know I'm going to get my knuckles wrapped for that one, but I really don't give a damn.
But face it, I mean, if we have more, I think women are generally a bit more social, and they rely on each other more.
Mm-hmm.
So they organize, and I think they also organize through children and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But let's face it, I mean, they're doing the work, and I think that men have to get involved with each other, and they have to support each other as well.
Well, and that's the thing. Men are used to having everything automatically. It's like it's a man's world, so men have things. So now that they have to fight and go get things,
that's not normal.
I don't believe it's a man's world anymore.
I believe it's,
and that's just me again. I don't believe it's a man's world anymore. I believe it's more split than it's ever been.
It is more split than it ever
but
is.
It's not just a man's
it
world
ever
anymore.
was, but I think it's still a man's world.
Well, I don't know if it's a man's world anymore, but we still hold to some of the beliefs that were perpetuated under more of a patriarchal system. Let's put it that way. I have a little blurb. I'm going to read it to you. It's one of the memes that I saw, and I thought it was really good because it's important to, contextualize what we're thinking. So this is the meme. It says, the target is not Christians. It's Christian nationalism. The target is not men. It's patriarchy. The target is not white people. It's white supremacy. The target is not heterosexuals. It's homophobia. Don't take it personal. Join the work and dismantle oppressive systems. So,
very well said.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I printed it, but I don't think it's in a man's world, not a man's world. I don't know that that's really the issue. I think that the issue is more that we have, a history of misogyny that we don't question anymore. We also have, and that includes not making men as responsible as women, and it's just like it's there. These are the two things for me that I just like. I don't get. It takes two to conceive.
Yeah.
Like you just cannot. I mean, as far as we know.
So, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here then, Louise, because you're saying the 50-50 responsibility in conception and raising a child. It should be a 50-50 job. Therefore, does the woman really have autonomy over her body when that thing that's growing in her is 50% somebody else's?
I find that a really interesting question, because occasionally there are men who will challenge and who will turn around and say, you want an abortion, but I want that child. I don't know. I think, again, that that's something that really needs to be debated in a court, based on the individual.
Yeah,
But
because if we're 50-50, then why is the woman's right more predominant over the man's right?
if a man wants that child and the woman doesn't, and the court says, well, sorry, he gets the child, then he has to be able to compensate her somehow, for
For the loss of a beautiful body.
all of it, and he has to obviously be able to take care of the child,
Yeah.
and yeah. What do you think, Stephen?
I'm conflicted with that one because if it's a mutual thing, if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, and something happens, yes, I believe, and I think the majority of men will want to take care of a child. But there's also all those other deadbeats that, dip their wick and run away, and that's the end of it.
Mhm.
And, so the woman is stuck with the child, and he could contest it anytime he wants, say, no, I don't want her to have the abortion. And like you just said, he'd win because
Yep.
I have to take care of it. But 9 months later, the baby pops out, and where is he? With some other girl in another town and doesn't give a damn. So
Yeah.
I think the whole onus, and again, I think it should be on the woman, up to the woman, not on the woman, up to the woman to say, I want this child or I don't want this child. And because the man is not always going to be there. And I'm going to say there'd be less than 40% of the men that will actually stick around. The other ones be gone with, find somebody else to do it with, and here we go, so let's start over. And I've known a few people in my circle that are in that predicament where, they've had kids and where's the father? Nowhere to be seen. He's someplace else doing it with someone else and doesn't give a damn about these kids. So if the father is going to protest that he wants her to have the baby, then he has to be held by the court, completely responsible for that child.
Yeah.
Going forward. You want it, you got to take care of it. And if you don't take care of it, we're going to take care of you in jail or seize your pay.
Exactly.
Because the responsibility is, if he wants the responsibility, he's got to accept the responsibility.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, and that's what I mean. If he really wants to do it, he has to. Then you're stepping up, you're doing it, or else.
Yeah, exactly.
So that brings
Go ahead. Sorry, Julia.
Sorry. That brings another question then. So in the States, when the woman gets an abortion now, she might be jailed for her choice to get that abortion. If the guy that she's seeing pushes for that abortion, is he responsible? Will he end up in jail? Should he end up in jail?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's culpable as well.
Yeah, but as it is right now, only the woman is going to end up in jail.
Yeah.
So how fair is that?
Jail, really? How many women are going to go to jail? I'm not trying to do.
I'm telling you, in Texas, where it's the wild, wild west, I freaking guarantee you they're going to throw women in jail.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It is a different world out there.
They will either put them in jail or they will menace, they will threaten them so much that these women will have children that they don't want. And yeah.
And the thing that they're overlooking in it too is if the child is a child from rape and the woman has to keep this child, and going forward, the child starts looking like I do. I look like my mom.
Oh.
So if my mother at the time, okay, she wasn't a rape victim, but my father did leave. But every time she looked at me, she could see him. And my ex-wife, every time she looks at my son, sees me. So she's growing up, so the woman would have to relive this over and over and over again. It's just not fair. It's not just.
It's further than that. Even if he doesn't look like him, it is a constant reminder of that trauma
Absolutely.
that she underwent.
Absolutely.
So, like, I'm assuming that she would love him somehow, but she would also hate him somehow. It would be a constant struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the woman could really love a child that was born out of pain.
Yeah, well, I can attest to that. It took me, like, I had in my first relationship, I had a difficult pregnancy, the first pregnancy I had, and the father was not always too kind, and I resented my child at first. Like, it took me quite a few months, and that was nothing like a rape or anything like that. So I can only imagine how difficult that would be to
I,
raise.
I think though that we're talking about, sort of extremes, and sometimes focusing on extremes, again, takes away the a little bit of the validity of the entire thing. If a woman gets pregnant, uh, and she doesn't, she's not ready to raise a child, barring that the man steps in and wants the child, she should have, irrespective of why, she should have the right, to medical or surgical termination. Period. Because what happens is that we start to. I mean, I think it's important to debate this stuff. I really do, because I also think it's important to legislate. Okay. But we still have to keep in mind that the big thing is that we have to, allow the for women to have access, to terminate.
So we're back to religion. So, in other words, you feel like, regardless of the reason, um, whether she's using it for um, contraception method or not, because she doesn't believe that it's a baby, she doesn't believe that it's nothing at that point. It's just a cell with another cell, and therefore, that's not her belief that it's alive. So she should have access to safely terminate that pregnancy, even if she does it every 6 months.
I do, but I'm going to tell you, because I'm old enough to have been there when all of this stuff was going on in the 70s. I saw, I didn't have an abortion. Wasn't it didn't happen to me, but I have tons of friends that did, and most of them found it really difficult. It was difficult. It was not. It wasn't something that the vast
It's not
majority.
something that you're proud of.
I don't even know if it's proud. It's just that it's scary. You don't know, how it's going to go. But I think that, most women are they're aware that they're pregnant. And I don't think it's easy. I really don't. So
I hope it's not easy.
No,
I
it's
really,
not.
I really hope it's not easy, because if it becomes too easy, it's and I hope that most of the women that have gotten pregnant through accident or whatever and had the abortion did take the time to really contemplate what they were doing. I don't think there's, and I don't know because I have never been in that position. I don't think there's a ton of women that said, "Oh, I'm pregnant, I'm aborting right now," and not even thinking about it. I think they've all sat back and thought about it, and I don't think it's a thing that anybody could take lightly, whether it's the man or the woman, because one way or the other, it's a life. And as soon as like the woman says, "I'm pregnant, I'm late," it's a life. That's me. In my mind, it's a life. So then, if you want to abort, I think it should be a discussion between the two people, and and I don't think anybody would take it lightly. But then again, if it's a rape or whatever, and the woman says, "I'm getting rid of this because I don't want to live with it," she should have that right to say, "It's gone."
So it's like what you were saying before, Louise, that uh okay, I lost my train of thought. My phone's ringing. It just threw me off.
I just think that it's, I think that it needs to be legal, enshrined in a legal system. You have the right. From there, I think you need sex education.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that you know what contraception is available, you know how to use it properly. I also think that you need, access to pregnancy tests, right? The early because you can tell very, very quickly if you're pregnant, and I think that also, to me, the sooner you abort if you need to, the better off it is for for yourself and the potential life in you.
So yeah, it's always about, like you were saying, about extremes before, where the rape is not going to be your typical situation,
No.
right?
No.
And so your serial abortion person is not going to be your typical either. Like
Far from it.
that's I'm sure, like we keep hearing that, oh, they're using abortion as a method of contraception, but I think that's very minimal. Like,
Mhm.
and most of us do think of it like maybe not as a life, because when it's just been conceived, it's not, it's a potential life, let's say. I would put it like it's a potential life. So I think most of us have the um wisdom to think about it, really think about it, and analyze you know the consequences before taking that kind of step. Like, we're not, you know women are not stupid. They can sit down and, if you're seeing that there is no future for this child, like there is no way that you can give him a good life, him or her, a good life. And I don't know, to me it's just I
Well,
don't
I'm going
it,
to
it
say
all depends where you see life starting to, I guess.
it also kills me that all of this comes from groups that really don't care. I mean, they say, "Oh well, the sanctity of life," but at the same time, uh, they don't provide maternal care. They don't provide maternal leave. No health care. You know, these are the same people that are can be not always, but can be white supremacists. Uh, this exists in places where we've seen kids locked up in cages. No, sorry, it
and
won't.
and and death penalty, like these are the same groups advocating for the death penalty. Like, if a life is so freaking precious, man, like a life is a life. It doesn't matter what they did. They don't deserve to die for it. That should be their argument.
Mhm.
There's a lot of hypocrisy there, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And all that to say, I don't believe that anybody has the right to tell any woman what to do with her body. And I don't care if it's the government, the church, one man or standing on the corner telling you you can't have a baby. I don't know you, but you can't have the abortion, rather. So I don't believe it's anybody's right to tell, like the three of you on the screen with me. I don't have the right to tell you what to do. It's you. You're the one that's going to be carrying. You're the one that's going to be nurturing. You're the one that's going to be taking care of that child. So where am I to tell you, sorry, you can't have the abortion?
Right.
You have the right. You have the right to do what you want with your body. Are you going to come up to me and tell me, okay, we don't want to get pregnant, so you got to run out and get a vasectomy tomorrow? Uh, you're not going to
Yeah.
tell me what to do with my body. It's you can't tell me what to do with mine, so I can't tell you what to do with yours.
But how do we, I feel that we keep coming up, this issue has been debated in my lifetime for
Ever.
Forever.
throughout my lifetime type of thing. And, 50 years, I've listened to this for more than 50 years. How do we change the thinking on this? And how do we get it across generally in society that it takes two
Two.
to conceive, therefore both are responsible. How do we do that, and how do we attack, the underlying sort of misogyny? In this article, I was writing, I'm not trying to sort of insult anybody for any religious beliefs, but I do think that, certainly in Christianity, the way things are taught, we have a tendency to, show women as being the temptress, the giver of original sin, or if she is not a virgin, that she is not pure, that she's not as good as. So how do we dismantle, bring our thinking forwards and dismantle this type of thing?
Abolish religion?
Huh?
Abolish religion?
It's not going to happen.
I know.
And that's not necessarily necessary, but we certainly need to kind of we need to discuss it. We need to go, it needs to be talked about. Do you really think that because we teach, that the Virgin Mary was a virgin when she gave birth, that's some, and she is praised for it, that somehow means that if you have sex, it's ixnay, you're not so good, or hey, I gave Adam an apple while he was checking out fig leaves, and therefore mother of original sin. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a whole different can of worms.
I know
But-
it's a can of worms, but it's an important can of worms.
Oh, yes, it is.
I think what we have to do is get men and women in the same room and actually talk about it. Whereas having women in one room and men in another room, we're always going to come up with a different attitude and a different, they don't understand this, they don't understand that. And it's all the thing we don't understand. And also when you were talking, the one thing that came is okay, we say men and women are equal. You're not equal. You're not equal yet.
No.
And that's where it has to come. And we then have to sit back and say, yes, she is my equal. Or I am equal.
I would debate equity rather than equality. We're not equals. We're built different. We're different species.
Okay.
But we can have the same rights and the same respect while keeping our distinctions,
But you see, equity to me is a big word.
It is.
I think the thing is, though, is that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, even if we don't have all the same functions, we don't have all the same things that we do as well as the next one, but we should have the same rights. And as you said, Stephen, we're not quite equal. The thing is, why not? I mean, it amazes me when I see that men who put down women, or whether it's sometimes not even conscious, but they forget that, hang on, you have a mother, sisters, cousins, maybe a girlfriend or a wife.
But that goes both ways. You'll hear women putting down men as no good for this, no good for that. So in some ways, we are not equal to you. And so I think we have to get the equilibrium going, that we end up equal to each other, that we do become, that we all have the exact same rights, no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. But until that day comes, we're always going to have these debates of what woman's going to do or what the man's going to do. And if we're going to go back to this here, and you're going to have you want to teach sex education, well, you're going to have to teach guys that they can have vasectomies too. But whereas you say to any guy, I want you to go and have a vasectomy. Are you crazy? Nothing's happening to these puppies. They're going to stay where they are. And whereas here, you go and have a tubulation. It's like, go for it. Yeah, it's her. It's not me. And I know when with my first wife, when the time came, I asked, "You want me to have it done or you? I can have it done, be off work one day." And she opted for herself. I said, "Okay, fine." So I dodged a bullet, but but I was willing to take the bullet. But we have to get on board with women.
I want to go back to what Louise said about responsibility. So that's a biggie, and that's a tricky one because it's kind of hard to put responsibility. So, just case in point, I'm going to say somebody in my life got pregnant and um, said that the child was the other person's child. So they went through the pregnancy and they got the child and everything, got attached to the child, and turns out it was not his child. It was her child, but not his child. So how do you guarantee responsibility? It's hard to say, okay,
No,
there would be
I don't agree with you. I think it's easy. We have phenomenal paternity tests. They're
for
completely,
a cost.
huh?
The people who have no money cannot afford that paternity test. Like it's
Well, let's put it
expensive.
this way. You may not be able to afford it, but if you can't afford the paternity test, then you can't afford to take care of that kid. Okay? So,
Okay, but reality is that there's a ton of people who can't afford kids that have kids. So, one way would be to, include that in healthcare, in our covered healthcare. However, our governments are taking away tests, the cost of tests from what's covered daily, So, um, but yeah, I think it would be important to be able for a father to be able to confirm the paternity before
well,
getting all in.
it's for both. I mean,
It should be automatic.
if there's a question of the paternity, okay, if the woman says it's X who's the father, and he says no, it's not me. Well, okay, it's a very simple way to find out. Get a paternity test, and I think that's either that or he accepts. Okay, I'm the father. I have half the responsibility.
Yeah.
I just don't see I don't see a valid way out of that one. I mean, unless like I was when I was writing this thing, trying to think about uh, what might make a difference, and what might make a difference is, for example, if a woman turns around and says to a guy, "Yeah, yeah, I'm on the pill, and I'm fine, and you don't have to worry about it," and she deliberately gets pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a different story. If she's trying to trap, because that happens. There are
That
some
that should be illegal,
absolutely it should.
criminal even.
Yeah.
Hard to
Okay,
hard to
so
prove.
last topic before we leave, because believe it or not, it's already 10:48. I'd
Hmm.
like to tackle what does this mean for the world at large? Like, what kind of message is it sending? What does it mean for Canada?
Ugh.
Well, I said
Anyone?
right at the beginning, right at the very beginning, I hope that we stay on the right course.
Yeah.
That our government doesn't waver, no matter what government takes over at the next election, because there's always a chance of a changeover. But if either one of the governments that take over start talking about taking away the right to abortion here in Canada, I think people, women, men, everybody that can vote would have to start getting up in arms, because
Mm.
we cannot start going back. You girls fought for it. Everybody fought for this law. We have to keep it there. And it's not only the abortion law. If they start changing laws that's been instilled in our laws over decades, we unless it's a stupid law like you can't smoke on the corner of the street after 10 o'clock at night. Well, that's different. But if it has to do with somebody's life, no, you have to leave the laws in unless you got a very, very valid reason, and non-religious and non-partisan.
Do we know when the abortions right in Canada took place? Was it before Roe v Wade, or were we like trendsetters?
Don't remember. Don't know.
I'm trying to find it.
But you know,
1969.
I think that we have the same groups in Canada that they have in the U.S.
Oh,
And I
yes.
do think that we can't be uh, asleep at the wheel on this one, because it's going to keep coming up. And if it becomes endangered, it legitimizes. Okay, it legitimizes this way of thinking, and this way of thinking is tied to other repressive ways of thinking. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like she
Yep.
just said, since 1969, it's been legal in Canada. So we cannot go backwards. And like you just said, we have to watch, because the American politics is sneaking in here. And, you know, I got to go back to one prime minister that I can't stand. It was like Stephen Harper. And he's the one that started to set the pace for becoming Americanized in our political system. And, you know, I don't want to go back to that basis. And I think no matter what goes on going in the future, we have to fight to keep the rights for women, women's rights, and men's rights, not, you know, and try and make everybody more equal, not less equal. You have the right to what you want. You have the rights for your choice. And it's called free choice, and that's what we have here in Canada. It's a free choice. So have your choice.
What I really want to see, is I want to see that we discuss. I think that we have too much stuff in society that, you know, everybody's talking at each other, but we're not talking to each other. And I think that in all kinds of ways right now, we're at that point in our evolution as human beings and as a species. We really need to get clear about the things that we, you know, feel are important in our lives.
We need strong men and strong women in the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fighting for the same things.
Yeah.
You know, and making sure that we get everything that we need as Canadians going forward, that we need it. It's not only for women, it's for men also. And
Yeah.
like, if they change this law, if this law was ever repealed, then it opens up to the gay marriages.
whole can of
And,
worms.
you know, you're not being able to walk, you know, be homosexual or whatever. And then it would just devastate the LGBT groups. So we can't allow that to happen. Everybody, not only women, everybody has fought too hard to get where we are in this day and age. And okay, I'm getting long in the tooth, but I don't want to be looking back 10 years from now from a rock or someplace saying we should have done something. Now's the time to act. Now's the time to make sure that everybody keeps the rights that they have.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, over the last, I would say, 6 years, we've been seeing stuff happening in the States, and we've been sitting back and we've been like incredulous, thinking, oh, that would never happen. That will never happen. This will never happen. And they happen. These things happened. And we're kind of like sitting there shaking our heads and saying, how did that happen? Well, you know, it happened because you watched it happen and you didn't take a stand and you didn't do anything. So I think it's extremely important that we really fight for this to remain in place and not do like it did in the States.
Well, just go back to the truckers' protest in Ottawa. How many people just sat back and say, well, it's them, it's not us? And, you know, I look at it, I get furious. One of the things that, you know, I'm from the age when we got our flag, and I'm very proud of our flag.
Yeah.
And I was driving up to Ottawa and I seen the swastika on our flag. And I'm sorry, I agreed with a lot of the stuff that they were protesting. But one thing you do not do is touch my flag. It's my flag. And don't F with it.
Yeah. And I hate what the flag became. Like,
Yeah.
even without the swastika, there was the stain of the swastika or the remnant of this in the background, and the Canadian flag became a symbol of, you know, everything I don't like, you know. So I saw Canadian flag and I'm like, I didn't even know what it stood for anymore. So
How oppressed are we here?
come on.
Yeah, we're not.
Exactly. So like don't tell me you're oppressed. We have more rights here than any other country in the world. So,
Yeah,
but we have to keep those rights. And going back to what we're saying, we have to fight to keep our rights, keep our freedom,
absolutely.
and keep our rights, and keep our independence and our independent thinking from other nations.
Yeah.
You know, whether they're south of us or around the world from us, we have to keep our independent thinking. That's what
Mhm.
keeps Canadians different.
Well, I'm going to bid you a very, very big thank you for being on with us today. I wish people would have come and chat a little more, but this is the way it is. Usually on a Monday morning, people are very quiet and then they listen to the show later. So we'll see some comments there. But I want to thank you both for coming on and discussing this very, very touchy issue with us and having the courage to come and speak up. And I wish you a great day.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, well, that was interesting, but you were very quiet, my dear.
Because you know what? All I was getting was feedback. So I'm
Oh.
hoping it's okay because I could hear echoes and all kinds of stuff. And I was worried if I talked, it would make it worse. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't have much to say already, but you guys were saying it all, but I was getting a lot of feedback.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
we'll have to look into that. Anyways,
yeah.
I want to say thank you for watching today. I hope you guys have a terrific day. Oh, happy 4th of July to our American
Oh, yes.
friends. Yep.
Yes. And
Happy
it's
Independence Day.
yeah, and I mean it's Pride Week too, so there's a lot of interesting events going on, and of course on the 9th on Saturday there's the big Pride Festival at Lamoureux Park too. So
Yes.
head
Yes.
on down there.
We'll
But
be there.
yeah, I was surprised that we didn't have more comments and people saying
Oh
their
well,
views. But
I hope people come and chat with us or leave comments um, onto the post after it's up and replay. So
exactly. But next weekend we're gonna have an interesting guest too. We're gonna have a psychic medium come on with us.
yeah,
So I'm really excited about that.
that'll be fun.
It
All
will
right,
be.
guys. Well, you have yourself a great week.
And a super duper day.
Bye for now.
Bye.